Convertible. Good morning. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Actually got the in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea camera up today. Storm clouds out there all over the place. Boy, we got some great weather coming in. There was 70 degrees last night, nice and cool. So looks like our weather's back, folks. It's about time too, because it was a pretty hot summer. And let's move into precious metal markets. By the way, this camera is by Windjammer. If you're ever coming down to visit me, stay at the Windjammer Resort. They have a nice live camera. It's not the reason to stay there, but they have a nice little place that's right on the beach here, and one of the nicer hotels. And no, I don't get a darn thing. I don't even get a piece of candy for talking about the Windjammer Hotel, but no less, I use their camera every once in a while, and it is a beautiful view here. Let's let's first learn how to speak English properly. Let's move into gold and silver precious metal prices here, and I'm going to do a quick refresh and see where we're at. I'm surprised we didn't see a smackdown yet, particularly in silver. I'm expecting it here. Reading Ted Butler, boy, one of the beautiful things about Ted Butler is he breaks down those COT reports, shows you who the longs and the shorts are and how this all kind of plays out. As I said, the nice thing about games being rigged is if you know how they're rigged and how they're played and what's going on, and the data's out there, you just got to muddle your way through it, be smart enough to muddle your way through it. That's why I like to count on people like Ted Butler, because he's smarter than I am when it comes to this stuff, and I trust his numbers and I trust what he's talking about. No less, he has the data to back it up as well. I expected a beat down by silver here. I just kind of expected it. I have a chart guy that watches my videos too that was mentioning that he felt that we were going to see another pullback before we hit up to that $27 level. And it's looking like these guys are probably right more than likely. Again, we could see 23 to high 22s in this next smackdown potentially. Just provides you the opportunity to buy the dip. The only problem with buying the dips right now is product availability. The premiums are down lower than where they have been in the past for certain products. Certain products are just not available. Certain products are just, you don't want to buy them, like Silver Eagles. The price of them is just ridiculous. And 90% now, same way. But there is good product out there you can buy still. And I suspect it'll still be available if we see a dollar or dollar plus move downwards. Platinum, well, let's take a look at the overnight. 1780, 1796. We're sitting close to that overnight high right here at 1793. I'm going to take a look at the 24-hour chart, both for gold and silver. And let me just switch those things up there a little bit. Okay. We'll take a look at the 24-hour charts on gold and silver after I'm done with this. I'd like to see where the highs and lows occurred. And I got to tell you, I just recently looked, try to figure out the GMT times versus, when they're open versus when New York's open, all that stuff. I'll show you that site as well. It helps you make sense of when these markets are, or when these lows and highs and where they're occurring. Well, let's take a look at the range, 1780, 1796, about a $16 range there, the high and low, from when the market opened last night. Silver 2406 currently, low at 2377. And last night I looked at the markets when they opened. I said, geez, they look a little weak. And I was kind of thinking we would see that weakness this morning. I'm really surprised we didn't. But again, I shouldn't be surprised at any of this stuff. If I really knew for sure what they were going to do on a daily, day-to-day basis, and I'm glad I'm not a day trader, that's got to be a difficult thing to do. If I knew for sure, I'd place a big bet and I'd win that bet I'd win the bet if I knew for sure, and I'd go have myself a nice little island somewhere where I'd just go fishing and surfing all the time and do whatever I like to do. But that's not the case. I've been doing this since 1977, pretty much second generation dealer, and I still tell you, it's a guess sometimes. You're guessing really on these markets as well. But a lot of times you get a good feel for where it's going in the not the day-to-day basis, but a week-to-week or month-to-month kind of thing. You know where it's going. Silver, again, 2377, 2411, currently sitting at 2406. We'll take a look at the 24-hour silver charts and see when that happened. Platinum, wow, up $40. That's quite a significant move. 1,019 overnight and a low 65 to 1,061. Maybe platinum was a tell again last night. Again, big move by platinum, $40. I think that's kind of going unnoticed right now. Sitting near its high too at 1061.25. I liked platinum at sub $1,000. Who didn't like? I like platinum at sub $1,200 level. I think at one day we're going to look at all these metals. You know, the thing is with gold and silver is you don't have to worry about bankruptcy. That's a big concern. I don't care who you're with, whether it's a government or whether it's a corporation. Bankruptcy's a big issue. You know, why do you think when markets crash, people panic? Because they feel that the company that they've invested in may go bankrupt. All right, that's not the case with gold or silver. People that sell, you know, gold and silver, when markets get hammered and gold and silver gets hammered, the people that sell in the gold and silver markets like that are people that are panicking. They don't understand the gold and silver market, and they certainly don't understand that they're never going to see their metal go bankrupt, which again I believe is the vast majority of people. When they get afraid, they just get out of it, you know, because they're a fear of bankruptcy. That's never going to happen with gold and silver. It's just never going to happen. Palladium, who cares? Because, well, I guess palladium is making some crazy moves too. Look at that, up $50. It was sub 2,000 for a little while, getting closer to that gold price. Those two were getting close together in price-wise. I think gold was around 18 and change, and palladium had gotten down to a low of what, 19, low 19s, I think, maybe even the high 18s. But no less, nobody buys. I mean, if we sell a couple ounces of palladium a month, I'd be surprised. It's just very little buyers out there for it. Well, and it's such an unexciting looking metal as well. Gray, kind of a whitish gray. 24-hour gold spot prices. I mentioned to you I wanted to look and see when we got them hammering last night. And here, let me show you this market. This is handy too, because if you look at Kitco on a lot of charts, it's either based on New York time or GMT time. GMT time probably easier to use because of the consistency across all the different, all over the globe. So I'm going to focus on GMT time. Fact is, though, I don't really never use GMT time, so it took me a little wrapping my brain around this to figure out exactly what time these markets were happening. So, one second here. Opens at 8 GMT, closes at 17 GMT. So that's the UK market. So let's take a look and see when there's 8 GMT. See GMT time on the Kitco's chart right there. Basically, it looks like in London, shortly, right about when London opened, it looks like gold had gone down quite a bit, and then it spiked up here as well and continued to fall in London and as well in the New York Open. Well, the New York Open is where you really see this line. And as I said, most of the action in gold and silver for the month or so, month or more, month or less, I don't know, the days all run the same to me, has been that most of the activity in gold and silver markets, the craziest activity, the more vertical lines that you see in the chart have been occurring between opening at 8:20 a.m., in New York markets right here, and around noontime it starts to kind of back off, and for the rest of the day it's just sideways. Let's take a look again. This is our chart today right here, and I'm sorry, I was looking at the chart on oh my gosh, sorry about that, Sunday. I was looking on the Friday close chart, my apology, right here. But you can see on Friday where it happened. This is the chart we're looking at right now. It didn't get monkey hammered up, but let's see where the action kind of sideways here last night markets, and it looks like in London is where, well, New York, there we go. Sorry about that. We're looking at the wrong line there. Here's this morning's opening last night, and what you are currently looking at. Again, I thought we were going to see lower prices in gold, or about the same, right sideways like this, and it appears to be, again, it looks like London actually is where the action started, unless it started in New York Globex market, which I don't understand. That market's open 23 hours a day, and I read a long time ago, if you see large trades, and it's not a great market to sell gold and silver into. Again, that's just what I heard. I'm not educated on the New York Globex market, and quite frankly, I don't understand, if we're looking at it, the chart right here, where are the ups and downs occurring? Are they occurring in the sales in London, or are they occurring in the New York Globex 24-hour market? It's a bit confusing for me. Do they both use the same price? Price? I don't know. So that's something that confuses me, how New York Globex works. So I'm going to assume that this morning it started in London and continued that almost near vertical line again in New York, where it's tapered off right here, and again tapered off before what? Tapered off right before noontime. Let's take a look at the silver price the same way. What time did silver here? We're the green line today, and again, same thing. Same thing. Open. Looks like the action occurred or started to occur in London this time, not in the New York NYMEX market or the New York Globex market. I'm not quite sure. Again, I'm not quite sure where these trades are occurring in London or New York Globex at this 8 GMT time. So I'm going to assume it's London right here. So at the London market, you see that little dip downward in silver, and where did that go? It went from 23.85 down to sub 23.80, just temporary. Right before New York opens, you see that big line in silver going up again. As I said, look at where all the action is. Here's Friday's close, boom, right around the same time, and going up right around the same time. Well, let's take a look at, oh, here's a good site, by the way, if you're trying to figure out gold market trading times. I like this. It helped me figure out exactly what time London was opening and when New York was closing based on GMT time. And I still haven't figured out the New York electronic trading Globex markets. And it looks like U.S. New York gold markets, I know that opens 8:20 a.m., but apparently that means 13:20 GMT. And let's take a look at let me look at that one more time, GMT. 13:20 GMT. It looks like, give me 1 second here. Again, these confuse me a little bit here. Time of New York open, closes at 18:30 GMT. And what time is the close here? 18:30. So the close is right about, well, there we go. New York Globex, New York Globex, New York NYMEX markets. 1380 would be, I guess that's right around this time, right where it says it closes. All right, anyways, good chart. It's kind of new to me, trying to figure out what time certain markets open and what time they close, and correlating that to the 24-hour charts. So forgive me if I muddled my way through that. I just kind of wanted to show you what I've been teaching myself. Yeah, I wanted to talk about, before I get into, I want to talk about this. This was kind of interesting. I've been watching this Kinesis gold they're advertising, or silver, advertising on different websites. They got a cool little application here. But what kind of concerns me is they offer free storage, and I don't know how someone can offer free storage. I mean, I guess they explain it here, but it's a little concerning, free storage, and they also offer to pay dividends on your physical gold. So I take it that it's allocated. It sounds like I'm reading about that it's allocated. So they allocate your gold, so they have your gold in there with your name on it. But again, that's still third-party risk, folks. I mean, just because it's allocated, I've said that for a long time. There's no substitute for physically holding it yourself. Okay, no substitute at all. As long as you've got a good hiding place, and trust me, I've done it before. Not done it. I never. But I had $1 million worth of gold bars one time, and just for fun of it, I took a 2-slice toaster, and I'll have to show you a picture of it. And a small 2-slice toaster, $1 million worth of gold is almost about the same size as, again, a small 2-slice toaster. Put that visual in your head. So you could hide $1 million worth of gold anywhere easily, as long as you didn't forget where it was. Make sure you told a second person in case something happened to you. But that's the beauty of owning gold and silver. The beauty of owning gold and silver is you own it, you hold it. All right. No one else holds, allocated on it. I don't care. No one else is holding it. That you don't have that third-party risk. So no matter how good a company is, and Kinesis, I don't know anything about them really. I've just kind of been following their advertisements lately. No matter how good they are, they're still holding it for you. You're still incurring third-party risk. I don't care if it's allocated or not. John Corazine, when that whole New Jersey deal went south, bankrupt, people had silver bars that were allocated with their name on it. When the bankruptcy court came in, you know what they told people with allocated silver? Go screw yourself. That's exactly what they said. So allocated, unallocated, I don't care. But no less, not saying anything bad about this Kinesis company, but it concerns me a little bit. Why would you? Now, maybe to overcome that, they're offering you free storage, all right? But I don't understand how you offer free storage. Storage is not cheap, so I guess they have to get that money in some other way. I'm not quite sure how they're making the money. Remember, it's all about making money for these people too. So they're free storage, allocated account. Again, allocated doesn't mean much to me really, and in the legal term, in the legal sense anymore. And they're offering to pay a dividend. Now the dividend thing, earn gold and silver for just using your account. I'm not quite sure how that works. a small transaction fee and moved into a master fee pool. Thousands of transaction fees are collecting in a master fee pool. Over half gets distributed back to users every month as 5 types of yields. This is starting to sound like a very complex, financial instrument. So I don't know who's involved with regulating these guys as well. But again, I don't think they're a bad company or anything like that. I don't think there's any problem with it. But I am a little concerned with no fees for storage and offering to pay a dividend. It just sounds kind of too good to be true. How are they making their money? No less. One of the reasons I wanted to point this out is because this kind of stuff is very tempting. And one of the things that are real important to me to kind of express to you guys is that third-party risk. Companies like this, you can incur third-party risk, no matter how well-intentioned. I don't care if Mahatma Gandhi was running this outfit right here. If something happened to him or he got in some kind of issues, and it's very viable and possible in today's world, you're again, allocated or not, I don't care. Allocated is just another word for we'll find a way to get it anyway. So there's no substitute for holding gold and silver bars. And where can you get best deal on gold and silver bars? Gold and silver bars and coins, your local coin store or your local bullion dealer. That's where I suggest getting it. And once you have it in your hands, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't even need an application for it, nor electricity or a Visa card. Again, not dissing this company. I'm just not too comfortable with that, with offering free stuff and trying to figure out how they make their money, and not to mention third-party risk. No matter how well-intentioned, how good the company, you are always at risk of third-party risk. At risk of third-party risk. Oh, interesting. Nice. ZH, not much to read out here. By the way, is that investigation over this guy just completely over? I mean, did he? Obviously, I don't know, man. That was just a weird deal. It's just like they wanted to go away, and it's he definitely didn't murder himself. There's no doubt about that in my mind. I don't. Well, anyway, let's move. I'm going to try to avoid all the political stuff here and see if there's anything. Europe on edge after Russia unexpectedly halts gas shipments. Not too much in precious metals news, so I'm going to just kind of move along from here. Gold stopped, chopped, and dropped to blame Bitcoin. VBL, I like the stuff that VBL writes. I have to kind of listen to his videos that he does as well. I don't know, blame Bitcoin. God, I'm tempted to click it. All right, I'm going to click it. Let's see how you blame. Do I have to watch the whole thing? I can't do that because I can't set my video up here for you guys to watch it as well. And good for gold, right, you think, but no, we know to hear failed to rally that much. All right, I'm going to have to try to do this one tomorrow. If you get a chance and you have ZH, and ZH is free to read, just go over here and read VBL's Gold Stop, Chop, and Drop, Blame Bitcoin. That one confuses me. Why would you blame Bitcoin for gold going down? Bitcoin is just, in my opinion, well, anyways, you know my opinion. Let's move along to another article that I really, really liked, and I can't read the whole thing to you, so I'm going to give it to you to read. It's done by Gold Money. It's called Waypoints on the Road to Currency Destruction and How to Avoid It. Good article, written at Gold Money. I don't know how they make their money either. However, if they're a local coin store, I'd recommend you go see them based on their articles that they write. And some waypoints to look for on the road to their destruction. Monetary policy will be challenged by rising prices and stalling economies. Central banks will almost certainly err towards accelerating inflationism in a bid to support economic growth. The inevitability of rising bond yields and falling equity markets that follows can only be alleviated by increasing QE. Again, what we've been talking about for a long time, the Fed's just got a job on their way out of this. They know that the Titanic is shipping. In fact, most of the passengers on the Titanic are knee-deep or waist-deep in water, and they're looking up to the Fed and saying, what's happening? The Fed just saying, nothing to worry about, folks, just enjoy the dip. So they're job-boning us. And central banks will have to choose between crashing their economies and protecting their currencies or letting the currency slide. The currency is likely to be deemed less important until it's too late. That's very true. Realizing that as currency is going down rather than prices rising, the public reject the currency entirely and rapidly becomes valueless. Once the process starts there's no hope for currency. currency devaluation and hyperinflation. That's kind of what most of this is about. But a very good article. Again, you can see how long it is. We'd be here for 45 minutes if we're going to read this, but I think I'd be doing a great disservice to my listeners out there if I didn't point out these articles for you to read yourself, even if I wasn't going to read them to you. Bitcoin, the canary in the currency mine. Very some good stuff here for sure. They talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin really not being a money at all. Great article, as I can show you here, long one. So I'm going to move back up, and I don't mind showing you guys other people that sell gold and silver too. I figure if you live in my neighborhood, even if you like Gold Money's articles, you're going to come visit me because I can probably beat their prices anyway. So what did they do? Guide for new clients. I wonder if they hold gold too, but no less, great article. Got to hand it to them on this one. Waypoints on the road to currency destruction and how to avoid it. This is my homework for you tonight. If I could give you homework, if you don't mind, definitely read that article. WSS moderators. You know, I'm kind of, I like I'm starting to look at Wall Street Silver and the power that they have. I've mentioned this quite a few times in my videos already. I'm starting to sound a bit redundancy, but you know, take a look at this. I mean, they have what? Let's see what their. Here. I don't even know how to navigate around this site. That shows you. They have 164,000 members. 164,000 members, folks. Now, you're thinking that's that's a lot of posts. You know, people can post all their gold and silver bars. It's like there's a lot of show and tell going on in Wall Street Silver, which is really cool. A lot of enthusiasm, it's fun, but show and tell is not going to change the lives of anybody on Wall Street Silver. In fact, one of the things that I've said over and over is that their numbers, their sheer numbers that Wall Street Silver has, they could become a powerful, legit, and very civil, done civilly, place for people to lobby. And sort of like a large group, if you got this large group all together and you had a nice script for them, you said, please call your legislators and ask them to ask the CFTC or call the CFTC, ask them to look into this manipulative shorting done by the 4 to 8 commercial banks and the managed money, just for the sheer purpose of manipulating the market, nothing else. It's stuff we talked about over and over. But the power that the WSS has is just incredible. I mean, if I was a moderator on this, I would definitely be getting some things done. And I'm urging the moderators of WSS to, come on, let's do something, man. Let's do something right here, and let's change this bullshit. Well, anyway, let's move along to a video I did on Friday, COMEX and the CFTC, crooked, inept, or both. 1,300 was a good number. 1,333 views. Not a great high number of views. I just like that 333 number. I'm a numbers guy. Let's take a look at some of the comments on here, and I'll go over that. Sorry, don't make you dizzy. Close your eyes real quick. Man, lots of comments. And actually, lots of comments on the video that doesn't have a lot of views. Interesting. Monkey hammered again. Absolutely, Joey. The Baptist preacher used to say they're either ignorant, crooked, or both. Absolutely, and crooks having to pay tax on 90% silver. Like having to pay tax, okay. Woman, have a good weekend. You as well, Michael. Let me see if I can find some AC Taylor. It's refreshing to hear some bad words once in a while. Joe Public needs to get mad at a lot of things. I agree. I mean, folks, you got to start speaking up. Otherwise, they're going to roll right over you. Let's take a look. I want to see if I can hit some questions. I'll sign a petition for sure, Jason. And Celtic not. Maybe the financial world as we know it ends before the comics relinquishes their short positions. If old Hank Paulson and the Federal Reserve Board would not relinquish control when Bear Stearns went up, it'll take complete implosion. This go around to free silver. Interesting. Silver loving Lou, nice to see you making comments. And criminals, parasitic predators do make good fishing bait. I'd like to thank a new watcher here. Yusaka is how I pronounce your name. Sorry, I kind of butchered it there a little bit. Yusaka, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And if you ever do come to Florida, make sure you come by and visit me for sure. And there's a Windjammer Resort right down the street where I get that camera that you saw earlier, the live camera. They got a little hotel if you want to stay in this area. Bruce says you should go to extensions and activate ad blockers. Thank you. I appreciate that, Bruce. Yeah, I did professional go-karting for a little while as well. It was a fun part of my life. Thanks for watching, Michael. Let's see. Heart of Texas. Nice to see you posting. And man, thanks for calling them like they are. They're the lowest form of life forms on Earth, deliberately trying to ruin an entire asset class for profit. VBL, that guy that does the videos on Zero Hedge and stuff like that, made a very good point that they don't do it because they hate gold and silver. They don't do it because they don't like you and don't want you to make money. They do it because there's big profit in it. That's the reason that the big commercial banks have been manipulating this market, and they get away with it. Okay, for the most part, they get away with it. So that's the reason they do it, is because they make a fortune off it. But the fortune as it is at the expense of mining companies, at the expense of silver and gold dealers and silver and gold buyers. So it's really just to manipulate to make a profit, and basically that's illegal. Now, ask me for a specific law to point it out. I can't really do it because it's done at the CME. The CME owns COMEX, and it's done at COMEX. And there's no specific rules. The COMEX doesn't do anything to stop it. They just allow it to happen. And why do they allow it? Because they're also making a fortune. But at some point, they're making a fortune off your backs, okay? You got to say something at some point. You got to speak out. And again, that's my opinion. Dad Smith, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad you found my channel as well. Would there be any point in your international listeners trying to vent to COMEX or CFT? Sure, it would. I wouldn't say vent. Again, the worst thing to do is call up and just call them a bunch of jerks and assholes. So you don't want to do that. You want to kind of have a good argument. But if you're on Wall Street Silver, go out there and ask the moderators to put together a nice little script. That's what I've been asking. But it really needs to be an effort by large groups of people that call and do it in the civil way, and you're not yelling at people and cussing and saying you jerks. It's got to be done properly. So yeah, if you can call up and make a proper argument and why this needs to end, absolutely call. I mean, that's what they put the numbers there for in the emails. Thanks for watching, Daz. I appreciate it. Christy says, thanks for all your work, Brian. And just a note, conspiracies are real, defined as when two or more people, engage in secret, unlawful actions that affect others. Whereas conspiracy theory was coined, this is true, I've read this before, well, I don't know if it's true, but conspiracy theory was coined by the CIA to discredit people who question the official narrative. I believe that is true. I read that more than one place, but again, I can't back that up. I'll ask my CIA friend. Just joking. John Gordon, unfortunately, the government backs the criminal activity. Otherwise, they'd ban it immediately. Not really. I think the government's pretty much clueless. Maybe the CFTC's clueless or whatever, too. But no less, the government's not really backing that activity as far as what's happening in the silver markets. Maybe the gold markets, but not the silver markets. These are just people making huge amounts of money at the disadvantage of silver investors, gold investors, miners, and that kind of thing. Who is it that keeps getting the Big Four? They are the real culprits. Who is it that keeps giving the Big Four their way with them? Well, CME Group. That's what I said earlier. Hey, thanks for watching. I was on fire on Friday a little bit. Sometimes you gotta be a little passionate sometimes to get things done. Excuse my ignorance, but they're shorting gold and silver because their monetary metals are a threat to the dollar. Silver UFO, I think when it comes to silver, my understanding, reading Ted Butler, again, big fan of his, is that it's money. And VBL, I think, said the same thing, it's money. The big shorts are there to make tons of money. They're there to make money. They're not doing it at the behest of anybody in the government and in the silver market. They've just made fortunes doing it at the expense of you and I, miners and such. They made a fortune manipulating those markets. That's why they do it. Now, and you said it right here, or is it just whales making money? That's exactly what it is in the silver market. It is whales making money. Now, when it comes to the gold market, totally different market, totally different manipulation based on what GATA.org talks about. And again, you have to read that to go into that. They believe that the Fed and BIS and central banks purposely want to keep the price of gold down because it's a barometer for currency debasement. It's a barometer for inflation. But that's a whole different thing. So two different types of manipulation going on here. One could be very well governments intervening in gold markets, but I don't believe that has to do with silver markets, or maybe it does. Tough to say, but silver markets are basically just a bunch of whales making a fortune at the disadvantage of everyone else. Appreciate that, Jeff. Thanks for watching. Ernest as well. Took out the mob in the 50s. Okay. Okay, couple comments there. Thanks, Ernest. I appreciate the comments. It does not look like how bad the economy or how bad the stock of silver is. It won't change unless the justice system gets involved. This is true to some degree. It won't change in the silver market until the CFTC actually starts doing something and starts saying, placing limits on these short positions. Because again, these positions by these big banks, commercial banks, they are nothing to do with hedging. They are simply there to use their large amount of resources to bully a small market to make a fortune for themselves. And it happens in really no other markets that I'm aware of at this scale. It's criminal. It really is, in my opinion. It should be criminal, I should say. Beastard Orchid says, Best Seed Orchid says, since some smashes lose hundreds of millions, it appears the purpose is to smash the gold price, not make a profit. What entity would want to push gold down? Well, the government would. Someone that wants to prop up the dollar, well, there you go. This is Best Seed is saying exactly what I was just talking about. Someone that wants to prop up the dollar and make it look like nothing is happening during the dollar devaluation. Who is that? Central banks, obviously. Hey, thanks for watching Best Seed Orchid, and I guess it kind of takes us through the rest of our video here. I'm pretty much done for the day until tomorrow, folks, and I hope you enjoy the day. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Ware Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale By The Sea. Make sure you do your reading homework over here by reading, where is it? No, it's not that one. Gold Stop, Waypoints. There it is. Waypoints on the Road to Currency Destruction. I had to remind you now. I didn't want you to go home and forget you're already home probably. Didn't want you to forget your homework here because it is a good article. Well, that's it. Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Ware Coins again. We advertise to beat APMEX, SD, and J.M. Bullion. I'm a local business only, so you'd have to come here and physically deal with me. I don't deal on the phone. If you don't live in my area, one of the things I always recommend is find yourself a good local dealer. Even if you have to drive an hour or two, it's worth it. They'll probably beat APMEX, JM, and SD as well, prices, and there's nothing wrong with those big online companies. It's just I'd prefer people to deal locally. If you live near APMEX, by all means go buy from them because the money stays in that local area. But if you don't, hey, don't send your money out of the state or your local area. Keep it in your town. And again, a lot of times the smaller dealers can pretty easily beat these larger resellers. I do, and we can also give better advice because we're available, they're not. Well, that's really about it. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.